Okay, now I will start with Bitcoin. That has been trending sideways. Like it's, I expected a lift yesterday, so this was the chart yesterday. I removed the path. I'm gonna put it back in just for you to see. So I expected after the drop that we had yesterday, this W formation to take us up to 32,300. It didn't do that. Instead, it came down one more time, a little bit lower than the previous leg, but still it hadn't reached the invalidation point. So there's no, at the moment, the structure still stands. It's just turned into a longer sideways consolidation. This sideways consolidation, it shows a lot of price compression here. You can see it's turned into almost a triangle. If I'm to move this support and resistance line here, you'll see the price compression happening in the triangle. I haven't closed my long in Bitcoin. I am still looking to see what's going to happen. We are perfect. So we are trying to break the top line and to consolidate above it. This is and the top line is the 30,400, let's say 500 area. This is our main challenge at the moment. Once we're past this, I think the next level is 32,300. However, that's the bullish scenario, the markup scenario. So I'll put a nice path up to here, with a little bit of maybe consolidation here and then up here. I'll make it blue. Now the down option would be this has turned into an M formation. That is also possible. And if we continue to break below the 29,900, let's say the 29,800, we might continue downwards to the 28,500, 28,600 level. So that is also possible. I am watching it today. Today should be a good volume day. There is no market that's closed. So and it's Thursday, so we should be seeing some movement today, especially after this price compression. And I would be careful about the invalidation here. If it breaks below it and it keeps above it, I wouldn't stay in a long. I would look to close the long and go into a short upon retest here, because what it does is that it breaks it and then comes up to retest it and then comes down. That's generally what happens. Let me change the color like this as well. That's it. Okay, so these are the two options that I see for Bitcoin this morning. I'll switch a little bit to VMAs just to have them, just to have an overview. Now the MAs are looking a little bit confusing this morning, and it is what happens in sideways. On the 4 hour, we have support, but that support looks very fragile. So there is support above the 5, above the 50, and above the 200 on the 4 hour. The one to break is, and it's the same with our level that we're trying to break, quite similar, the 30,500. I think the level was slightly lower. The 20 MA is 30,500. So what's happening in the MA is quite consistent to the levels. The 50 looks, the confusing part is that 50 is coming down slightly and the 5 is turning down and the 200 is turning down. So they're all turned down, even though price action right now is above them, and it looks like price action got there. So there were 3 green candles that went above it. On the one day, we are still above the 20. So to be technically, how can I say, to have a look at, technically at this. When we're still above the 20, there should be a more, how can I say, I'm more inclined to favor the longs. There's more of a lift sentiment to it, above the 20 on the day. However, what has happened over the past week or so has showed very clearly that we can stay above it and then come crashing down to it. Stay above it, come crashing down to it. So it, I would take 30 minutes as a breaking of the 20 and then as a long consolidation and retest for a nice pump up to maybe the 50, 33,000. So that's how I would see it personally. But what is going to happen depends on what the market wants to do. So I am keeping my long open. I don't see any reason to close it at the moment. But I am watching it because if it does break the 20 on the day, which again is consistent to the level, the 29 level that we have in our level of support and resistance, I would be looking to close the short. Now, let's have a look while we're still on this chart. Let's have a look at the Ethereum. MAs. On the day on Ethereum, we are below the 20, and we have been below 20 for quite a while. We have lost the support of the 5. It's not looking great on the day, to be honest. The only one that is below this is the Bollinger Band at 17, about 1700. So for Ethereum to continue going upwards, I would be looking at price action getting above the 5, which is the 1813 level. That's what I would be looking today. If I were in a long to continue longing, that's what would need to happen. On the 4-hour, we seem to be gaining the support of the 5, but the 50 is coming down quite forcefully. So I don't know how price action will react to that. Again, it's a tight space, it's a tighter compression. Here, when the 50 crossed, we can see there were 4 candles of sideways, and then it did a very sharp downturn. So when the 50 crossed here, there was a 10% pump. I don't know what will happen here. Sometimes when they don't, like when the MAs cross and they're not going the same direction, these crosses are not so powerful, not so impactful. But I would be looking to see what's going to happen. Again, just like for Bitcoin, it's not certain. We have less support for Ethereum on the 4-hour than we do for Bitcoin, but it's still I'd still keep an eye on it, and I would still again look at it to be turning upwards because it hasn't yet broken the previous low. Now, the 20, we are above the 20 on the 1-hour, and the 5 seems to be coming up to meet the 20, and the next level of resistance, according to the MAs, would be the 1820 level. So the 200 MA on the 1-hour would be the next level to break through. So that's if you haven't entered along, I would be waiting to see what it does there, because there would probably be a breakthrough and then a retest and then continuation upwards after all of this consolidation. And just a quick note on the short-term pattern. So I kept the chart as I had yesterday. So yesterday on the 15-minute, we were accumulating in this range, and it seemed like we are compressing. It broke up, then it held the bottom line, then it went through the invalidation, and that's what I'm saying about checking for invalidation as it happens. Because if you just put a stop loss right below this line, it pierces and then continues upwards. So that's why you need to have the level of invalidations, but you need to check to see when it happens and how it happens. If this is how it happens, if it's just a wick down on the 15-minute and then gets above it and stays above it, the structure is not invalidated. However, the structure will transform after all of this sideways. This is no longer the space that it's moving in. So the trend lines have changed. And here is where Ethereum is. And at the moment, it hasn't, like, if I were in a long, again, I would be very careful to see which line of this new structure is broken. Because again, we don't have any horizontal levels that are broken. We're in the middle of the middle, but we are accumulating still. So the moment for the swings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like we need one more touch to the down and then another up. And it is a symmetrical triangle. Yeah, the down looks a little bit more strong than the up in how inclined it is. However, it could break out both ways, and I think the target is mostly the same. Yes, it is the same target, 1950 for the up and 1650 for the down, which would be the Bollinger Band on the 1 day. So if you're in a trade in Ethereum, I would be watching for, if you're in a long, I would be watching for a confirmation above this line continuing upwards. And if you're in a short, I would be watching the invalidation, the current invalidation would be below this line here and continuing below it. So that would be it. If you're okay with the level of risk, I would put it below the previous low here, but that would be a deeper stop loss. So the immediate one would be here, and then you watch to see what happens if it breaks it. That's it for me. Thank you for listening. I'll take questions when we're done with our presentation.
Super duper. Let me, thanks Mihaela.
Right, you're muted.
Okay. Thanks Mihaela. Let me share screen.
You're very welcome.
If you want to unshare your screen,
There you go.
Now, okay. Just a quick zoom out to the daily first. So just as a reminder, because it's gone sideways, we got a rejection off the 20 EMA, rejection off the 20 EMA. Again, generally when there's a rejection, you get a push down, possibly the push down might not be very far on this one because of this long rejection here. Yeah, it may again level out and head back up, have a go at it again, or we could be in for this is a sideways day or potentially a drop. Obviously, it's either up or down, but you can see the rejection. And generally, there is a push down after a rejection, especially on a daily. Yeah, excuse me. But this wick may sort of blunt that. So let's go to the MA straight away, and I'm going to have a look at the weekly. I'm going to have a look at the weekly first, and just zoom out and zoom in and see what's happening. Yeah. So on the weekly, let me get rid of the drawings. There you go. Just the MAs. So on the weekly, you can see the 5 is coming down. It wicked and got rejected and just pushed back. So it pushed down, and again now there's a rebound back up. And you'll see that one on any time frame. You'll see the motion of it. So there was a wick up, rejection, push down. Now it's heading back up again, and you can see the VWAP here is still pushing down. So this is why this sideways is going on at the moment. Yeah, and the week again. It's Thursday. Three more days left in the week. So let's zoom in. Let's zoom into the 6 day. See, the 6 day is interesting because the VWAP is still down, but the 5 turned up. This was a little sharper when it was up here. Is when it came down previously. The first time this got a push down, this 5 came down, nearly leveled out. Is this time it came down, came back up. You see it's moving, but essentially that's a turn up. So that's one for the up. So the 5 day is clearly for the down, and probably in a spill mode. If it kept going down, yeah. And you'll see why I'm doing this as I move in. The 4 looks a little neutral at the moment. Even the candle looks a little neutral. But I do believe it was more of an up at the start of the week, yeah. And obviously, as it went down, it changed its mind, yeah. So 4 seems a bit more malleable. The 3 isn't. Look, the 5 and the 10 MAs are up on the 3. The VWAP is ever so slightly down, but yet price action is below it. So the 3 day changed on the 9th. The 3 day changed today. So this is interesting that these two turned up, and there's 3 days. The end of the week. For the end of the week, is these guys are looking for a pull up, yeah. And the 2 day. The 2 day again is looking for the opposite. It's looking for the pull down. So again, you can see why the sideways action is going on. Now the 1 day, when you zoom in, is yesterday the 20 was down, the 10 was up, the 20 was down, the VWAP was down, and the 5 was up. And this is the medial line here. This is the center line of the Bollinger Bands. So there's a Bollinger Band there at 42. There's a Bollinger Band there at 38.20. Yeah. So this morning or last night when it changed, the 10 took a turn down. So the 10 has decided to come down. So with the 20 and the VWAP. So that's a big change that the 10 has decided to come down. And again, 5 is pushing up. So if you were to ask me which one is in a stronger position, the pressure down has changed with the 10 turning down like this. As you can see, the wave, the way they move. Look, the 5 pushing up here is the 10 pushing back down, the 20 pushing down. 20 EMA. The 10 here is a bit neutral at the moment, yeah. So you can see that the push back down is it bounced here, pushed back down a little bit more. Look, the 5 turned and brought down a little bit more, you know. But by this time, look, the 10 turns, giving it a lift. The 5 turns, giving it a lift, gets rejected at the 20, comes back down and that's the 20 EMA. This is the 20 EMA. Sits on the 20 MA, gets a big spike through, sits on it, is underneath it today at the moment. That's at the moment. But it's been sitting on it and the 5 is coming up. So if the 5 doesn't have its breakthrough today and get a good push, is tomorrow the 5 is going to push through here, and what will happen is the 5 will turn into resistance. So if this stays in and around the same today, and the 5 doesn't get a clear break, or one of these guys doesn't turn and become support, it could be very close to a spill. Now, having said that, one of these can turn and it can be the opposite, which is what I'm going to swing to now. Now I'm just on the EMAs, yeah, and I'm going to go to the 4 hour, because the 4 hour is 4 hours is showing us something, yeah. On the 4 hour, the 20 EMA has just wicked over the 55. On the 4 hour, that means a big pump. Anytime the 4 hour crosses over, it's a minimum 20% pump, and up to easily 30, 40, 50%. Yeah. Now it's just crossed over, so this was red a few months ago. The 4 hour is going to turn in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Okay, so new candle should be appearing here in a moment. And depending what this candle wants to be, we could already be having the breakout kicking in. Okay, so look, there it is crossing over more. So let's see. Now, part of the challenge with this is that it's coming from a space here. Yeah, the drop here, the lift up here. So there's been a bit of volatility both ways here. The question is this lift here? Can this continue, or in the next hour or two, do we see this line starting to retrace back below? Yeah, because they can shrink, or else it's going to pop. So let's just have a look. This is what is deciding now, but it could take an hour to show itself. Yeah, here's the 3 hour, and again that crossed over here, got a nice pump. Let me bring it on in. Got a nice pump, came back onto it, and it's been bouncing along it. The 2 hour, again, same. 1 hour. 1 hour, again, flattening out here a little bit more. Now, if I just go to the 5 minute, because the 5 minute makes the difference for the 4 hour turned, but now the 4 hour turned and the 5 minute here, see this? This looks like it has completed an impulse, or possibly it might be a 3, 4, 5. So this looks like it's done an impulse. Yeah, look, it's coming to the top. So this will need to possibly correct itself, which could pull it down. Could pull it down, yeah. If we look at the 15, here, see the 15 is at the bottom. The stop RSI is at the bottom, which means that's good for a lift. Which for the 4 hour crossing over is if this stock wants to keep price action pushing up, that could be enough to trigger the 4 hour and let it get move into a bit of space. Yeah. So that's looking strong for the pump as it is. We just again have to see, this doesn't have to go up straight away, so we got to see what this wants to do. I'm watching the 5 minute to see if it wants to spill. Yeah. So that's it. And if it starts to break down through the VWAP here, it might be just a false call on the 4 hour. But I think in the next hour or two for sure we'll know. Yeah. Like Mihaela with her channel lines, the way she adjusted them on the 15-minute arc. It's the same thing. If you can see you can essentially see the support and resistance lines here. It seems like we're definitely getting into that space where whichever way it decides to go, potentially that looks like it's going to trigger the breakout. Again, we've got to see. So now, just one more thing. Let me get my lines back on here, I think. Is that the right one? Maybe they're just too small. Just want to have a look at my channel lines, yeah? Just a quick look. And I'll go to the 4 hour. Yeah, not really. Just sideways. There's no line jumping out that it's sort of in the middle, deciding what it wants to do. And again, you can see the 4 hour there at the moment, where it's crossed over. We got to see what this wants to do, because if this doesn't break this, it can just as easily, if you see a big red candle coming here, this could easily just turn and do exactly the same thing, flip and pull down the bottom. Yeah. But either way, this is on the verge of doing something. So I think we're going to know today for sure we're going to get a movement. As Mihaela said, there's definitely a movement coming today. I believe so. I believe so. Whether it's the big movement, I'm not so sure, because if you remember on the weekly, the 5 MA in the weekly is pushing down quite strongly. If that's the turn, we'd probably need just one more thing. If we're going to break this and go up, price action probably needs to get closer to it, so that when the week turns, is the 5 comes down again and becomes resistance, or you get a sharp V on it, and then again it's up for the pump. But to do that, you need price action closer to it. You need price action coming up to 41 and testing this line or sitting on it, so that when the week changes, it can become that support. Yeah. The further down price action is when the week changes, it allows this to wick down and continue with its pressure. So the closer price action is at the end of the week, the more likely it is to turn the MA. The further away it is, the more likely it is it's given space for the MA to come down further and keep pushing. So that's if there is a lift, it may only be a short one, just getting it up to push on this, keeping it ready for the turn of the week. I don't know. It could just turn today and we have a blast. But we'll see. So again, I better give my head is much better at giving these clear lines than I am. So I better be a bit strict to myself here. Is just a very simple look here. Excuse me. If you're looking for validations for either direction, if you start to see a break 40-40, there's a very good chance that it's at least heading up for 41-2, potentially going much further. Yeah. And if it starts to break below 39.69, again, this is the bottom of the 50-minute arc. You could be looking at a target of bring it up here, down to 39, where we can get a bounce off either one of them, and then again we'd have to see after that what way wants to play. Yeah. So that's it. So if you see it getting up to here, is how it behaves here. May look for a back test and then a lift on. If it gets down to here and breaks it, again looking for the back test and then moving on as well. Yeah. So whether it breaks either one is you want to look. Sorry, either one. Here we go. Let me do this here. You can tell I'm a slow starter in the mornings. Yeah. Is if it breaks this is 41, 41.15, 41.2. If it wants to go further, you want to check to see a back test and on. And equally here, if it breaks 39.12, again a back test and then on. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at today. I'm still in my short. I'm still in my short. I should really be just coming out of it and letting it play out. But I do have my points where if it keeps heading down, okay, I'll let it go. If it starts breaking up too far, I'll just come out. And again, if I've got to come out, it'll be a 15% loss. I won't let myself go past the 15% loss. So that's it. So that's it for today. Have a great day, and we'll keep you up to date on the charts. And we'll have the New York session in the afternoon, and then we'll have a training video. We'll post a training video privately tomorrow as well. Yeah. Okay. So thanks very much, and we'll move into the questions now if anybody has any. Super. Anybody have any questions? I have noticed that the more we do these sessions, they're pretty self-explanatory. Is the detail that we're given is I believe, and I would like a little bit of your feedback here, it seems like we're giving you guys enough clarity with regards ranges, patterns, support and resistance lines, validation points, invalidation points, that it's keeping it nice and tight, and we're just following the process, checking the ranges as we go along. Is there anything else that we could add in that we're not putting in? Do you feel like there's anything missing from it?
Well, I think they're really valuable. Go on, Michael, you go first, mate.
You broke up there, Lee, say again?
I was going to say, if Michael wants to go first, Michael, you go first, matey.
Yeah. No, go on ahead, Lee.
Yeah, I was going to say, Roy, that I think they're really useful.
Do you have any questions?
Okay, super.
I think they're really useful because it gives us an insight into your thought process as we're sort of learning the ropes and trying to develop our own skills. So they're great from a validation of our own TA, and where we might have something slightly different. It gives us the opportunity to either ask the question, and confirm, where we might have, why we've got a different opinion, and where we've potentially gone wrong. So I think it's great from that perspective, and it also then helps us to, not put ourselves at too much risk. So, when I first started trading, you think, you've got an idea, but really you've not. And so from that perspective, it's great to be able to not put ourselves in that situation where we could, lose a load of money, like I think some of us have in the past. And, that's probably part of your journey, but I think it's great to, for us not to be in that situation. And then in terms of anything else, I suppose the only thing from me just thinking about external factors, potentially things like the inflation rates in the US about to be released. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow, but I think you spoke about, the big move not potentially being today, but it might come later in the week. And maybe when the CPI update comes out from, I don't know if it's the Fed or where it comes from in America, but that might, I think there were talk about if it's above 8.3%, then that might dump the markets. But if it's below 8%, then that might pump the markets.
Yes, yeah.
So there's some extra information on things that you think might influence it, other than the usual TA.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
Yeah, I think Mahala's more, in ways, stays more in tune with that aspect of it. My Asperger's just keeps it attuned to the charting. I just think whatever is going to happen, it's going to show itself in the chart. It's going to show itself in the chart. But yeah, Mahala's better at the what's the word for it? Oh God, it's
the fundamentals or the background.
Yeah, there you go, the fundamentals. Exactly. Yeah. I'm more mindful of it with XRP, and again more on the bigger view. I've sort of tuned out the whole SEC case for the moment because there's just too much talk around it, whirling around, too much gossip. I just think it'll when the case is coming to a real end is the court filings will demonstrate clearly when it's coming to a real end, unless they come to some agreement and surprise everybody. And I think that's the thing that pretty much is going to make the big difference for XRP. But now I know with the likes of Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's different things going on, So.
Yeah, the market, like yesterday was a little weird because the DXI went up, but Bitcoin, while it did come down, move a little bit down. It wasn't a big move compared to what the DXY did yesterday. And like I keep an eye on the DXY, and I keep an eye generally on I posted in the ETH chat. TradingView has a great watch list on the first page on the phone. It shows you what Nasdaq, the DXY, the S&P, what they're all doing at the quickest overview. And if you want to go into the charts, you can go into the charts. And then it shows you the stocks as well. It shows you the oil, the gold, the silver. It shows you the currencies. So you have an overview of what's happening each moment once everything opens. But like recently, I've noticed a little bit of a what's the word in English? The YouTubers use it all the time when they separate, when Bitcoin does something and the stock market does something else. A bit of a separation, I'll say it like that. They're not so correlated as I thought they would be. They say that they're 70% correlated. Maybe that's where the 30. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that the S&P came down yesterday, and it came down quite a bit, whereas Bitcoin stayed quite sideways. Now I don't know if, like, I think it's good to keep an eye on the overall. If there is a 10% pump or dump in the market, Bitcoin will feel it for sure. But the smaller moves, sometimes they can add a little bit of confusion to it. The pattern will still play out. You know, the 3 steps down or the 3 steps up, the W formation, the fibs will still play out as they do. Sometimes the fundamentals are the catalysts. They make them happen a little bit faster.
Very good. Very good. Lee, what were you going to say there?
Remember?
Okay.
Remember. Oh, I was going to say, look, they're really great because I'm super busy at work at the moment, and so I can't really give the charts as much attention as what I would like to. And so the fact that I get these 2 sessions to check things and just compare and contrast with my own chart, they're really useful, especially for me at this moment in time.
Yeah, totally. I think they're a great add-on to the academy. Yeah, I do believe as well that we with regards to the training videos. This is why I keep asking for this feedback, because if there's something more specific that you want us to go into as a training video, we'll do that as well. We'll do that as well. So what we're looking to do is just try and tailor that a bit more personally with regards to the people who are actively involved. What specifically the like, as much as we show you all the fundamentals, after that, with your refinements, is there some specific refinement that we can spend a bit more time going into with you guys? So if there's anything like that, just let us know, and we'll do a training video on it. We'll break it down and spend that time as well. Yeah. And that's
the other thing that I think of, Roy, is just so more around the trading view stuff, around, because I noticed that you've probably got about 10, 15, 20 different charts, and I literally use 1 or 2 charts in trading view. And so what is the 10 or 15 different charts that you've got? Why do you separate them out? That would be useful. It probably isn't a big session, and then all the extra tools that there are within trading view, because obviously as a newbie, I'm kind of working my way around it, but you don't know what you don't know. And so, the other potential tools that are really good to use in there. So I've seen you use, for example, the where you copy and paste the previous price action, so it can give you an idea about where it's potentially going to go. I've got absolutely no idea where to find that one.
Okay.
Well, but for example, that kind of stuff, potentially.
Yeah. Well, Lee, I'll do a session on that tomorrow. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I'll record it. I'll announce a time for it today, but I'll record it and I'll put it out as well. Yeah, I've actually really honed down the charts I use. I do have lots of different things that I have, and I tap into them to just have a look to see what they're giving me. So, some are also a bank of information, like this one here. Like this is a bank of ascending channel lines, and I've gone back through all the history. So what I have here is just a bank of really solid support and resistance lines, so that when price action moves on, and you can see the levels. Like when it moves on to another level, is I have a look and I go, like, what are the strongest support and resistance lines that it's going to meet? So you can just see here that this support line here, but equally this one here, is when it comes back up, 50 cent is going to be the challenge. Is this one here is the support to be 34 or 34 and a half. And again, if it breaks, what are the lines that? And when I do my smaller TA and I test my channels, I dip into these and I look to see, do I end up finding 29 and a half on other channels and things like that. So this is invaluable. This one is super as an example. But I'll go through them tomorrow, Lee. I'll go through them all tomorrow, and I'll explain what they are, and then what I use them for, how I use them. Okay, all right, super. And I'll post out some of their links, and then I'd recommend if you find one that's really, you think this is really valuable, is I'll post you the link. But then I would recommend that you literally you have my page open, you can see it, but then build out your own page, your own chart. Simply because when you manually put it out yourself, you're making your own mental map, your own mind mapping. If you just copy mine, you'll put it there, and it's like putting something in the cupboard and just leaving it sitting there. You'll forget about it. If you mentally map it out yourself, you're putting it more into your long-term memory. Is you'll hold the value of it more reliably, you know. So, okay, so that's what we do the training video on tomorrow. All right, excellent. So any more thoughts or questions before we wind up?
What helps me a lot, shortcutting, if you do, and you probably do in some of the videos, I'm trying to remember, I haven't looked at training videos, I probably should in a while, but if you gave the concept behind different things more, you know,
Okay.
how it works. I'm sort of like, I guess, most people. With an idea, even if it's unreasonable, I'm foolishly more likely to trust it.
Yes.
But when someone else comes up with an idea, if I don't feel I understand it, I tend to have a lot of resistance to it. Plus the fact I like to understand it, because part of me always wants to try to optimize things, even though a lot of times I probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
I just feel a lot better when I kind of understand. I should probably think through different things that I specifically want this on.
Michael, send us.
And I do eventually.
What?
I'll send it in a text. I do eventually, or sometimes quickly, see the concept. Sometimes it takes a while. Anyway, I'll come up with something to send in there.
Yeah, send us a DM list of what ones you'd like us to look more into, and then we can start mapping out videos around them. Yeah. Yeah, super duper. All right, excellent. You can see. I'm just looking at the 4 hour, the 20 crossing the 55. You can see the battle going here. It was red. It's coming down. Now it's gone green. What are we? We're 20 minutes in. So again, we got to see what this wants to do. Yeah. This could be a much bigger move. Anyway, let's see what happens. All right, guys, keep your eyes open, and have a great day, and we'll chat to you later on for the New York session. Yeah. All right, have a good one.
Have a great day. Thanks very much again.
Cheers.
Have a good one. See you later.
Thank you.